with all the posts. Hi guys, welcome. It's Friday. It's 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock for Tim, 4 o'clock for me, and sometime in the pre-morning for most people. Welcome to another show. And this week, as you can see, we're talking about alternative list building, which is basically how to build a list without building a list, or different ways of building a list, and what are the main parts of a list of different types of subscribers you can have, how to move someone from being a tire kicker and just slightly curious, all the way up to being sort of a superstar buyer. Hi Donald, hi Mark, how you doing guys? Good to see you here. Oh look, they're all pouring in now.
Oh, look at that.
Woohoo! Hi Tamar.
So I'm getting a bit of feedback off you.
Are you?
Yeah, it's you, not me.
Yes, not me.
How's
that?
Turn me down a bit. There we go. Maybe that'll work better.
Right, so for those of you who just joined early, we've got a treat for you. You might have missed the eclipse during the week. Tim is now going to demonstrate what it's like. Ready, Tim? Do the eclipse.
How slowly do I want to do this?
That's it. That's slow enough. And there it's back again. Oh yeah, it's Friday. You can tell it's Friday. Right, guys. So, Tim, let's start off.
List building. I kind of when Mark said let's do something on list building, kind of took me back to sort of some of the stuff that I've read over the years to do with list building, and I suppose I don't know how many people have read Gary Halbert's boron letters. It's a bit of a hard read actually, but it's in one of the letters that he wrote to his son whilst he was in prison. As Gary Halbert had the lovely time spent. I don't know how long was he in prison for? Like a couple of years.
Well, the amount of letters he wrote, quite a long time.
Quite a long time.
They are the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, pretty much that's what it feels like. Anyway, he was talking about the hierarchy of lists, and this is kind of like the sort of really sort of bastardized kind of version of it, and the modern day version of it in my eyes. And lists aren't created equal. A lot of people go, yes, we have a list, and you go, well, a list of what? Is it a list of buyers? Is it a list of prospects? Is it an email list? Is it an address list? Is it what is it? And we've kind of tried to split this up a little bit just to kind of set the scene, and then we'll talk around the subject as we go through it. So I want to start off with this hierarchy of lists with the kind of the most valuable first, if you like. I would say the most valuable lists that you can have are people who've bought recently, so your most recent buyers. That's probably the most powerful list that you can own, because it proves that somebody who's bought from you, spent money with you in the recent period. Now it might be in the last sort of 30 days or last 60 days or last 90 days. It's very buyer dependent. It's very business dependent. But recent buyers is actually really, really powerful list to own. Next level down from that is what I would call engaged buyers. So people who've bought in the past, but who are still engaging with your content, whether they're opening emails or whether they're visiting a website or that kind of thing. And that's what I would class as an engaged buyer. And then the next level down from that is your expired buyers. So people who've kind of bought from you a long, long time ago, but they've stopped engaging with you. And for me personally, within Lean Greens, we have what we call a dead list. Or a dark list, which is basically anybody who's not bought for 180 days and has not opened an email in 90 days and hasn't visited the website at all in the last 90 days either. And then we class those as our dark list, people who are not really actively engaging with our product, our brand, or anything like that, or our website, even though that they've bought in the past. So those are kind of the most valuable, I would say, your buyers. And then you kind of move down to the next level of that, which is prospects. So people who've recently been added to your list, Now, list is an interesting term because we'll talk about different lists in a minute. But people who've recently been added to your list, so recent prospects, we've got engaged prospects, so people who've been added to your list over a period of time ago, but are actively engaging with your stuff. And then expired as people that are on your list, but they're not actually opening your emails, or they're not engaging with your posts or whatever it might be. And then we move on to website visitors. So you have recent website visitors and people who haven't visited in a long time. So expired website visitors. And then you have social engagers now. Today, we've got this whole social sort of economy of, people who are visiting your social platforms, whether it's a Facebook fan page, whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's Instagram followers, whether it's Twitter followers, people who are actively engaging or current engagers with you. And then there's what I would class as expired, so people who follow your page or follow you on Twitter, but aren't actually engaging with you anymore. So there's a whole different hierarchy, right from the very top of what I would say is those people who've bought from you, right the way down to the lowest level of people who just aren't even engaging with you on social media anymore. And that's kind of the hierarchy that I see at the moment. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to copy that hierarchy into the post in a moment once Mark starts talking. But any questions you've got about that, just fire them in now, and Mark and I will try and cover those. So, Mark, go.
Right. So, starting right at the very bottom, you've got your people who are reading your social media posts. They are your lowest level, your first approach, your first point of contact. We've been talking pretty much the whole year about, these are probably the most important people you'll come across until they become buyers, going to become more important. But so many people actually ignore the whole social thing. They've got a few likes, they've got a few comments, great. You can actually turn these people into buyers. I won't say relatively easy, but I will say that a lot easier than it was 5-6 years ago. And a lot easier than people coming to your blog. There's a lot of things that have happened with blogs. Everyone's seen content upgrades. Everyone's seen links going to landing pages. Everyone's seen pop-ups. Everyone's seen hello bars. So they're getting, when people see them every day, they lose their impact. So, which is the reason why live video, and video in particular on Facebook, is becoming more and more important. It gives you a point of contact. It gives you a comment. So, for example, now please play along with this. If you see the value in video, please say, comment yes down below. All right. So this is an experiment. So I need somebody to actually comment yes.
Somebody, anybody.
Hi Bart, hi Mary. Someone please type in yes. Tim, type in yes for God's sake.
Otherwise, this is a really slow system, isn't it? There we go. Tamar's just put something up.
Oh, excellent. Right. So yes. Right. Okay. So now you've all typed in yes. Now beforehand you probably engaged anyway. But if you're someone new on here who hasn't been on a live call before, hasn't been on a Facebook page, okay, Facebook now knows that you're engaged. So next time I actually do a live post or a live video or something, you are more than likely to see it than somebody who's not engaged. So basically we're filtering out people who are tire kickers, viewers, into people who are actually got a little bit of engagement now. What will also happen is now, or within the next 7 days, my lookalike audience will upgrade with people like you, which is a bit weird if it's people like me and Tim. But if it's normal people like you, then my lookalike audience has now upgraded. So now I've got another point of contact with completely different people who haven't seen anything that I've done before. And we can now start to connect with them and start the process over again. And that is really the lowest level of connection, but it's still a list. And this is the point. This is a list. You're on a custom audience now of engaged people. That's a list. There is another list of lookalikes for United Kingdom, for Australia, for United States. So that's 3 lists. There's 2.4, probably 2.8 million people there, potential people who are like people already contacted here. So that's another list. That gives me something to work for. And this is the power now, the modern power of lists.
Should we talk a little bit about this format? Because I think that might sort of kind of concrete that a little bit. So one of the things that, again, we've got a bit of a list of lists, if you like, a list of list formats. And, you know, in the olden days, let's put it that way, makes me sound really, really old. In the olden days, a list for a marketer was very much physical addresses. So like your postal address. You know, then we started having things like a phone list. So there's people like Tamar who rely very heavily on having, you know, a phone list. So a list of prospects or a list of buyers or a list of customers who, you know, so you've got like, you know, their phone number or contact information as well. And now when we start moving into sort of the more modern sort of, you know, world of internet marketing, Tamar, very olden days, yeah, absolutely. You know, in the more modern world of internet marketing, we started off with email lists, and the email lists were like king for like absolutely forever, for 10, 15 years, and people still rely on.
I actually say that they still are king.
They still are, yeah. They're still the daddy, I would say. You know, if you can get an email address today, actually that's really, really quite valuable. Now, whether it's, you know, if you read any of Peter's posts about, and he's, you know, bitching about, you know, ConvertKit or Aweber or, you know, whatever system that you're using and the value of that email list, actually getting hold of somebody's email address is actually quite powerful. If somebody's willing to give you their email address, that's a valuable thing, almost probably as valuable as their phone number today. So it's quite hard to get, and it's quite expensive to get hold of that. Now, for a long, long time, email lists were the only way of doing it. So email addresses were the only way of communicating with your audience. And then came along a thing probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago, pixels. So the ability to pixel people on your website and remarket to them through whether it's Facebook or Google, and then that expanded to lots of other different ad platforms as well. So, you know, for the last 5, 6 years or so, pixel lists have been king alongside of email. If you think about lists as a concept, it's the ability to communicate with an audience of somebody who's put their hand up and gone, yeah, I'm vaguely interested in the thing that you're talking about. That's what a list is. It's, you know, we don't need to necessarily think about it in terms of, well, I have the physical email address, or I've got their physical address, or I've got their phone number. You know, it can be a list of people who visited your website. So for a long, long time, that's been the daddy, very much been the daddy. Now, kind of today, the sort of in 2017, and what Mark and I have been harping on about since the beginning of this year with, you know, which started with the Ministry of Engagement and all that kind of thing, is that this whole engagement aspect within social media being essentially, it's another list. So if you've got somebody who's engaged with you, you can create an audience of people who have engaged with your stuff. That's one of the great features of Facebook today, is that anybody who's engaged with a post or an advert, you can put them into their own audience. Okay, you can do this also with Messenger. Anybody who's messaged you through your through Facebook, you can create an audience of anybody who's messaged you. So there's lots of other ways of creating an audience, a list of people who've kind of shown an interest in your stuff. And I suppose the new kid on the block is very much the messenger lists. You know, a lot of people have been talking about ManyChat and the different bot systems and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, over the next sort of 12 to 18 months or so, messenger lists are going to become more and more important as Messenger as a platform becomes way more powerful in terms of the ability to, you know, make sales directly through Messenger, whether to, you want to order an Uber ride, or whether you want to buy something from Amazon, or whether you want to book a restaurant, reserve a table in a restaurant or whatever, that will be available within your Messenger app at some point over the next 12 to 18 months or so. You can see it's going to follow on very much the way that WeChat is working in China. And if you've not heard of WeChat, go do a search on Google and find out what they're doing in China with WeChat, because the scope of the different things they're all doing through just one Messenger app is hugely powerful. So building up that list of subscribers to your Messenger lists is actually hugely powerful today.
And as a sort of demonstration, is there anybody here who hasn't got one of these within hand reach?
I've got two.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, old school 5S, man. Rocking the old school.
But I mean, this is your list. You've got a list in there. Your many chat list, whatever, it's there. And most people have got a phone within feet of them, almost 24/7. Even sometimes in bed, don't they, Tamar? When they can reply to Facebook messages. But yeah, it's you're so close. You're seconds away from being able to send a message to a potential buyer. Okay, I mean, I could do it. Quick, Bart, chase him. You won't be able to buy anything. But it's yeah. I mean, it's there. You can use it. It is the future's here, and it's just another channel that's opening up wider and wider every day.
I think with the different formats, there's a couple which I'm just about to post the list formats up onto the actual live thingamajig, commenting thing. Anyway, the other ones which I haven't spoken about are push notifications. Now, whether you like push notifications or not, there's more and more websites and more mobile apps that are building in push notifications into their system. And that's another set of lists that you potentially want to look at. It all depends very much upon your audience. And some businesses it's suited for, some businesses it's not. For us, for the e-commerce world, we're very much looking at messenger lists as a big thing, and our social followers and our social engagement lists, and the audience we create from those, so that we can actually continue to market to those people the products that they've kind of shown an interest in. So that's basically why we've got these different list formats. Now, the thing is, no previous list has become defunct. The only one which kind of I was questioning whether to put it in, and it's not even on that list, is that phone numbers list. And it depends on your business. And let's say people like Tamar, their business is very much, you require those phone numbers. It's an essential part of the process. If you're a personal trainer, you want to start, to do the consultation over the phone. Yes, collect those phone numbers. So, that's still required. Physical email address for my business is huge. We've just done a postal promotion, a direct mail promotion, and people go, does direct mail still exist in 2017? Hell yes, it does. We've just sent out 500 odd postcards in the last 3 days. Those are that's the direct kind of mail that we're still using. It's still very relevant within e-commerce, and it might be for your business too. So the key for this is kind of what do we do with all this information? And it's I appreciate we've just given you a whole buffet of ideas of different list formats and the different list hierarchies that you've got. And the key is to kind of segment segment your lists with an actual purpose. You've got to actually figure out for your own business, and this is very industry specific or your business specific, how you go about segmenting people. Now, for me, as I say, we talk about like, segmenting people who haven't engaged with our stuff and haven't bought from us in 180 days. We put them onto a dark list. But we also have a list of, say, for example, our buyers. We have, our super buyers, our whales, the guys that have bought over £1,000 worth of product from us. And we have those in a separate segment, and we treat those people very, very differently. We send a very different type of message to them. We have different types of offers that go out to them. We'll send them direct mail on a more regular basis because we know that they're a higher value customer to us, and they're much, much more likely to be open to the offers that we put in front of them. So we create content and marketing pieces that are appropriate to the segment and the medium that we want to use. So obviously, you can't just take an email and send that out as a direct mail. You can't create a video and physically mail it. Obviously, but you've got to figure out what's right for the segment and what's right for the medium that you're going to use to communicate to them with. So that's kind of what we want you to start thinking about with different lists that you've got, is about segmentation and using the right medium and the right type of content to go to that medium and those segments. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. So chuck your questions in below.
We've got 3 great questions. So the first one is, Mark, do either of you SMS lists?
Personally, no.
No, I don't use SMS lists. I hate getting through SMS. I don't know why. I just do.
But you may be very different. It's kind of like, say, for example, a personal trainer, for example, might have an SMS list and go, by the way, hey, Mark, we've got 2 places left on our next boot camp. Are you up for joining us again? Again, it's very specific information and it's very specific marketing to that medium, and it's not necessarily as intrusive as sending out a blast email going, join my next webinar, blah blah blah, and you get that every 3 days from whichever IM person it is. Very, very different type of thing.
So I've got another great question here, which actually Ian the Oracle answered a minute later without even seeing it. With Skype and now messenger phone calls, are phone numbers still as relevant to salespeople? Yes, they definitely are. I know some guys who spend all day on the phone, hammering out phone numbers and making sales every day. Okay, but let me show you Ian the Oracle's reply. Mobile phone numbers are matchable in Facebook custom audiences. Facebook bug people until they give them a fallback to how to unlock your phone number, and that is perfect. I mean, so if you've got a list of phone numbers, you can match it up with people, an audience on Facebook. Advertise them on Facebook. I hope you're listening, Tamar. And then, and then you can work with 2 different audiences there.
So it's actually one of the one of my little tricks that I do to try and match or increase the quality of match when I upload data from, say, for example, my email software up to Facebook, or past purchase data. What I'll do is I will use the email, and I'll use the phone, and I'll use the postcode to try and get as close a match as possible, because sometimes the email address isn't the same. We know that if you just use email address, we found certainly with a Facebook list, it's around about 50% chance whether it's the same email that they've got that they use to buy something to what's on Facebook. Now, if I use the phone number as well, then generally that increases to around about 70% match rate on our audiences, which makes a big, big difference as far as for us to remarket and to figure out who's bought what, and and creating lookalike audiences are improved from that as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Anything, when people go climbing, they always say keep 3 points of contact when you're climbing up a rock face. I mean, it's the same with your customers. If you can keep 2 or 3 points of contact, you're way more likely to get a sale than if you've only got 1 point of contact with a buyer.
Here's the thing: is if you've just got email addresses, And like, if we went back, 10 years to when we only had email addresses, the only thing that, if you had a new promotion that you wanted to tell people about, the only way of you being able to do that was through an email address. Yeah. Now that you've got email addresses, pixeled audiences, matched audiences, based upon the previous buyers and stuff like that, be it previous subscribers, messenger lists, social followers, all those different types of people. You can send the same promotion, yes, but obviously adapt the message, the marketing message, to the medium that you're using. But you can send the same promotion to 3, 4, 5 different locations, all these different list formats, to get a much, much more impact from that. Today, email addresses, like if you send an email out, my average open rate at the moment is between 30 and 35%. The industry average is less than 20% now. And that's the challenge. If you just did email, which is why things like, running the Facebook email repurposing campaigns that we do for within our own business, all we do is like, if we send out an email, we also put that email up onto our Facebook fan page, and we also promote that to people who are, who have engaged with us, who have visited the page, even to buyers, previous buyers, which, so that we can actually still send the same message to them, obviously within that different format, send that message to them in multiple different locations.
Yeah, even where you're watching this call on my Facebook page, if you scroll down, you will see posts that we've recycled from about 4 years ago up to quite recently. We just picked out some posts and recycle them. And all we're doing, we're running a $5 a day campaign that goes to every post there. So that's not lots of $5. It's one $5 campaign, which Facebook decides which posts they're going to show people. And we're getting relevancy 9. And it's working quite well. And it's an audience that we've never even targeted. It's quite a left field audience that we're testing it on. So you not only do you recycle things like that, but if you take your lists from Aweber or ConvertKit or ActiveCampaign, always make sure you stick them into Facebook. That is a second point of contact. That's 2 points of contact from just a single email. So there's one for you there, Tim. Question.
How do you locate phone numbers from email addresses on Facebook? I'm not quite sure.
No, I think what Tim meant was he gets the phone number of his client, and then when he's uploading the email addresses, he'll make sure that phone number is assigned to that email address, which gives Facebook two sort of ways of actually finding that person.
So when you upload the spreadsheet, the CSV file of all of your buyers, you've got an option. You've got options for which columns that you're matching to create that audience, and the default is just email. But you can also match phone numbers. You can match the first and last name. You can match partial addresses and postcodes. So it just gives it more data to kind of like go, yeah, actually this person is the person we think it is, with multiple different kind of like points of contact again, multiple different sort of fields that it can match up effectively. So it just gives you a better chance, a stronger chance of actually matching people.
Yeah. So even if somebody unsubscribes from your fashion list, you can still constantly not hassle them, but put your content in front of them.
Yeah.
And then it may trigger something and go, actually, do you know what? I want to get back on that list, or I want to actually buy that or something.
So one of the things that I do is, like, because I do regular list cleansing of prospects, I don't delete the prospects. So to give you an example, last December we ran a contest through UpViral to win an Apple Watch, okay? And we got something in the region of about 3,500–4,000 subscribers coming onto our list. Now, we converted some of them to buyers. We converted some of those to engaged prospects, so people who are actively looking at our emails. But what we got to the point where it was like, well, actually, a lot of people aren't opening the emails anymore. So I basically exported all of those email addresses and then deleted them from the email list because they weren't engaging with me anymore on the email list. But I took that list, uploaded it to Facebook, and created an audience of my overall prospects list, so I can continue to engage with them on Facebook as well.
There's another one there.
Have you heard of Bonjoro? No.
I checked it out the other day.
It can connect with your email list and trigger you to send personalized video messages via email. Yeah, there's quite a few services like that actually at the moment. We've been looking at different things that actually do personalized video messages, and actually creating, say for example, if a new customer comes on board, what we'll do is we'll record literally a 30-second video. We'll stick it up onto Vimeo as a private video, and we'll email that to the customer and say, just to record a personalized video for you. And that's great if you're in a high, kind of high margin sort of industry. If you've got, big ticket items, doing those personalized video messages are huge kind of like engagement and relationship buildings.
Okay. Ian, you have to explain GDPR to us with simple souls. GDPR will make this a little bit more difficult to go nuts with, but probably get better engagement because they want on your list for specific reasons. You want to be on your list for Google, GDPR? Got to be Google, isn't it? Google Democratic People's Republic.
Google Display PageRank.
Google doesn't pick rankings. We've got no idea what GDPR is. Whatever it is coming down the line is going to make a big difference. Oh, the pan-EU, including UK data.
Of course. Yeah, sorry, I knew I'd heard of it. Oh, dear. Yes, to a certain degree, you've got to be very careful with data protection stuff. Obviously, check within your local area because everybody's, the EU and the UK is very different from the US and the rest of the world as far as data protection. But yeah, make sure that you are managing your data appropriately. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Canada recently, a lot of marketers stopped emailing Canada because of one of the laws that they had. I had no idea what that was and why it affected people, because I think it was an overreaction. But just be careful where you're actually emailing people from and to. Bart wins. Right, so any more questions about alternative list building? I mean, what we wanted to get across to you today was no longer is an email list the only thing you can have. You can start, as I said, you can start with the absolute basics, which is somebody engaging with your page, your Facebook page. I mean, one thing I said I might mention, if you want to get started for zero cash, set up a Facebook page, use Medium, post all your content that you create to Medium and Facebook page, and that's it. And when you get traction, then when you get going, then you can go and invest in a blog, etc.
I think one of for me, one of the biggest growth areas coming up, in the next sort of 6 to 12 months, 18 months is and we've really got to keep an eye on what Facebook allows within the Messenger platform in terms of what different functionality will come out. And I know Ian's really closely looking at this, obviously, with a lot of the stuff he's been doing with ManyChat and Messenger bots, but also the different functionality of, what you can do when you are on Messenger, whether it is, booking tickets or buying a product from Amazon or booking an Uber ride or whatever your business is, whatever your product or service is, those things will become much, much more available. There'll be an awful lot of development within that sector. It'd be less about all of the multiple 100 apps that you've got on your mobile phone to a lot of it being run through one app, which will be your Messenger app. And certainly we can look at WeChat as being the sort of the hint of what's going to happen first. What areas we're going to see developments in. So building up your list of Messenger subscribers, I think is, me personally, it's one of the focus areas for us in the next 12 months is to build up a stronger Messenger list of buyers, but also of people that want to engage with us, so that, because it will get more expensive to be able to, get people onto those Messenger lists, but also potentially to send an email or send a message to them through Messenger might end up having a cost associated with it.
Yeah. Tamar says, why Medium? The one reason I suggested Medium, A, it's free. B, it's really easy to put content on there and make it look good. I mean, it generally looks good. And as Bart said, Google loves Medium, real and authentic content. Yeah. So, and there's a captive list of buyers there. They've got their own apps. They do daily broadcasts of the top content that's been up there. So keep on writing about your topic. Keep on putting content up there. After a while, you'll start to get traction. And then it will grow a bit and grow a bit. And then when you got traction and you know that your idea is going to fly, then you can go onto your own blog if you want to, or just keep it on Facebook and Medium. It doesn't really matter. If after 6 months you haven't got any traction, then it's time to reconsider.
We're going to suffer the wrath of Peter telling us that we're all wrong and we can get traction in 7 days. No.
Hang on. If any SMO members are watching this and you haven't been in the forum today, get in there, wear a crash helmet because your brain will explode.
Yeah, it's already melted my brain this afternoon. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to go for a lie down.
Peter made another one of his posts, and I won't tell you what he's done, but it's worth reading it because it's mind-blowing. And there's pretty much not one bit of paid technology in there. Gmail, Google Slides, and an idea. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
I think obviously we're not in.
Go and have a read of it, mate. You'll be shocked. but
obviously, like. Obviously, these videos are not necessarily designed to be a pitch, but certainly as far as high value content is concerned, some of the stuff that has been posted up in the last 2-3 weeks from various members on
not necessarily
SMO has been mind blowing. So if you're not on SMO, this is our one and only mini pitch. Make sure you join SMO. Just drop Mark a message and he'll send you a link.
Just put a message below us, like, because I'll tell you what, Tim's got a new landing page. You can get a $1 trial, so we can send you a link to that. But honestly, the posts in the Facebook group are mind-blowing. I used to think Tim was the techiest, geekiest person I've ever met. Well, he's nowhere near it. Some of the stuff that Ian, who we've mentioned before here, posts is out of this world. He's so far ahead of the bleeding edge. It's insane. We got Peter S in there who posts just mind-blowing stuff. Also, I have to read his stuff 3 or 4 times because my brain just melts every time. My jaw's like that. A little bit of drool running down there. Yeah, there you go. Tamar agrees.
Cool. Yeah. So if there's no more questions, I think we're going to cut it at that. Any questions that you have, obviously there's going to be plenty of people watching this afterwards. Any questions that you have about list hierarchy, list formats, and how you actually utilize it for your own business, drop the message below and we'll do our very best to answer that. We might, I'm expecting quite a few comments and questions about this stuff. So, but I think that's everything for today, isn't it?
Yeah, you can ask them below. If you're in one of the groups, ask in one of the groups. If you don't know what the groups are, just message us below, and we'll send you some links to the free group or the paid group, whichever you want. That's it, guys. Have a great weekend. I finished an hour early as I messed up the timings today. I'll get it. It'll be an hour later next week because I'll get it right next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you later. Bye.